Fellow woodworkers, you are running out of time to make those spring builds.
Your time's up.
We are already into March and spring is knocking on the door like one of those annoying solar panel salesmen.
Leave my house! I'm calling the police!
So in today's video, I have the perfect multifunctional fun spring project that you could build for less than $20. I've seen these selling online for 10 times that amount. So put down your phone, get off the toilet, and let's get to building. So this project's pretty unique. It's like a plant stand, but it's got a birdhouse on the top of it. It's kind of hard to explain. It kind of looks like a tree. I haven't seen anybody else building this online, but if you have, let me know in the comments. The first thing I need to do is cut a 36-inch post. This is going to be like the trunk of the whole thing. Now, if you want to save money, you can do two 2x4s. It's a little bit cheaper than a 4x4 post is. I originally wanted to build these out of cedar, but the cedar 4x4s are $22 a piece at my Home Depot. And the 2x4s for 16-footers are $29. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut two arms at 24 inches or 2 foot, however you want to say that, out of a 2x4. You can almost build this whole trunk part out of a 2x4. If not, it doesn't hurt if one's shy a few inches. That's what I tell my wife anyways. Both ends of your 2x4 arms are going to be cut to 45 degrees. Then after you make your first 45-degree cut, flip your board so that both cuts are facing the same way. I don't know if that's how you say it. Is there a term for that when both 45s are going the same way, or would they be going opposite ways? Let me know in the comments. They're having a landscaper's orchestra outside while I'm trying to record. Can you guys hear all that? Like 8 machines going at once. It sounds like they're trying to play Flight of the Bumblebee or something. Now I'm going to cut 3 squares out of a 2x8. Now a 2x8 is actually 7 2 1/4/16, which is not a real measurement, but so to figure it out, so you don't have to figure out all that mathing, just cut off an end like this. See, mine had a big old knot and it was crooked already, and put it on here the opposite way and then make a line. That's all you got to do. You know how to make a line? Just like that. Boom, that's your square. Then if you're lazy like me, after you cut that square out, just keep tracing it on the next one down till you get 3 of them. Now we're gonna wrap these squares in a 1x4. And at first I was gonna do mitered corners, but this board is so bowed. You see how it's not touching right there? I was having the hardest time doing a 45, standing it straight up like that. So I'm just gonna do it like this, where you 2 of them are gonna be longer than the other. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut 2 of them the exact width of the board, and then 2 more is gonna be, what, 1.5 inches bigger. Not everything's accurate like that, so this is the way I do it. I cut the 2 sides that are gonna be flush, and then I push this up against the other side, like that. I make sure it's flush, and then I make a line, and that's where I cut it. Okay, so now you need 2 8-inch 1x6s. This is for the bird condo that sits on top of this whole thing. Then you need 2 more 1x6s at 5 1/4 inches. And these are gonna be for the sides of the birdhouse. Now we have to find the center of the 1x6. Yours is most likely gonna be like mine. Sometimes you get lucky and you get one that's 5 1/2 inches.
That's what she said.
Mine's in between the 1/8 mark, so mine's about 5 7/16. So what I normally do is I just go with the 5 1/2, and half of 5 1/2 is 2 3/4. I'll flip this over and I'll go 2 3/4 again, which is about right there. And then you can kind of see where your line's gonna be in the center. That's off because I'm trying to look at it through a camera, but you get the idea. Then once you find your center, you're gonna use your square again, or whatever you got to make a 45, and you're gonna make a 45-degree line that way, 45-degree line that way. Well, bam! Then just set your miter saw at 45 degrees, and then just cut it on that line. Rather than do that whole process all over again, I just use that one as a template and mark my second one. This is the birdhouse. I'm just doing a rough fit. And as you can see, it's not a square. And I want it to be a square because I want it to have the same reveal all the way around it because it's gonna sit on this pedestal. So what I gotta do is I gotta cut the width of these together, which is about 1.5 inches, off of both of these so I can make it a square. So I'm gonna take it over to the miter saw and I'm gonna cut off 1.5 inches on both pieces. So there's a diamond usually at the 1.5 inch mark, and I don't know why it's there. I'm hoping it means if you're bigger than that, you're above average. That's what I'm hoping anyways. So the last part we have to cut is the roof. Now I'm going to 45 both sides of mine on my table saw. But if you don't have a table saw, you can always do something like this. And then you would just overlap it like that. But then you're going to still have an overhang like this. So I Googled what size hole I needed for finches because I have a lot of finches around my house. And they said 1.5 inches. And then I was going to put one of those little stoop things that they stand on, the little pegs. And it said don't do that. So I'm just putting a hole 1.5 inches and 4.5 inches from the bottom. Okay, now that I got all my pieces cut, before I assemble everything, I'm going to give everything a quick sanding. I'm almost at 50,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it if you guys would help me reach that milestone by subscribing to my channel. And if you like my content, give me a thumbs up and maybe leave a comment. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so I got almost all my pieces sanded down and ready to be assembled. The only thing I didn't figure out yet was the base. And the reason for that was because I couldn't decide. I couldn't decide whether I wanted to use this 1x12 because 1x12s are like 26 bucks, 27 bucks for an 8-foot piece. So it's not really cost effective if you were trying to sell this. It's the easiest way to go. And then I thought you could take a 2x4 on your table saw, cut a dado in the middle of both to fit them together and make an X, but you might not have a table saw. So here's what I figured out. This is the compromise. This is the best of both worlds. You get your two 2x4s on the sides like this, and then this one goes in the middle. And then your post goes right here. Boom. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, what way you think was the best. So I want to put some 45s on the top corners of the feet, just to make them a little bit more decorative so it doesn't look like I just threw a 2x4 block on there and called it good. I mean, even though that's what I did. So I use this little plastic thing to find the center. The only thing it doesn't get it all the way to the edge, so then you got to finish it off with your speed square. Then just mark your 45. And then if you don't want to have to switch your saw or your saw only bevels on one side, flip it this way and then do it on this side again. Then I just countersunk and put some wood screws into the bottom to hold the feet on. Now I got to clamp these arms at a 45-degree angle, so I made these little simple jigs to help me do it. I just took a 1x8 and I cut some grooves into it. Then I drilled a hole so I could get my jigsaw blade into it, and I cut out the opening. Now you won't see this in Woodworkers Monthly unless you get the one for woodworkers on the spectrum, but it did the trick. Look at how tight that holds. I just took it back off to add some glue. Cut must be crooked because this side is not sitting flat, and it is. I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna let the glue dry and then cut that edge off. I'll go with the other one. All right, this one's much better. Okay, so this is where I Jascoed the whole thing up. Naturally, I wanted to put a pilot hole, and that part worked okay. Where I started to have problems is when I was trying to put a 3/8 inch countersink hole that I could also put a dowel in. Every bit I tried was just tearing the wood up, and I think it's just because I was drilling it on an angle. I started with the brad tip bit, and it was the worst one. Then I switched to a regular drill bit, but it was only slightly better. Luckily this part's underneath and you'd have to be laying on the ground to see it. I should have just used a countersink bit and not worried about the dowels. Nobody's going to see down here anyways. What do you guys think? Was this a waste of time? Now this is me trying to figure out how the heck I'm going to clamp the other arm onto this thing when I can't lay it flush on the bench. This is what happens when you try to wing everything. I decided to just let it hang off the bench like my belly hangs over my sweatpants. If it's good enough for my belly, it's good enough for this project. If you guys clicked off the video, I wouldn't blame you. Actually, don't click off yet. There's a good chance I might have a meltdown. If you guys are thinking, oh my goodness, this guy is drilling one lower than the other. What an idiot. They're actually supposed to be staggered. So now to put the feet on, I just used a little bit of glue, pre-drilled the holes with a countersink bit. Then I used some 3-inch screws to secure it. I just used glue and some brad nails to assemble the boxes that the plants are going to sit in. Please enjoy this performative art piece I made called Just the Nails. The nails hold everything together. They keep it from falling apart. Just the nails. Then I pretty much assembled the birdhouse the same way, but instead of brad nails, I used pin nails. I was going to make another contemporary art piece for you guys called Just the Glue, but I didn't want to lose any more subscribers than I probably already did. Now for the roof, I just used some masking tape and taped the two pieces together. Then I squirted some glue in the crack. Then I put them together and I just used some pin nails to hold it in place. Right now I'm marking the center of all my boxes. Then I'm using this scrap piece of 4x4 so I could pre-drill them and they don't blow out the inside of the box. Then I use my countersink bit on the inside. And then I also pre-drilled the center of the arm or branch, whatever you want to call it. Then I added some glue to the top of the arm branch. I put a screw just barely sticking out of the bottom so I could line up the two holes so I can make sure I got this centered. If you didn't notice, God didn't just make me prone to gain weight. He also thought it'd be funny to make me bald too. I added a second screw just to make it that much more secure and to keep it from being able to twist also. You might not believe this, but I did the exact same thing on the other side. In case you're wondering, this is how fat people switch drills. I sort of did the same thing for the birdhouse, but I attached the platform first. Watch how fast glue dries in Las Vegas. This is Type Bond 3. It's supposed to give you a longer work time. All I did was attach the house to the base. Then I grabbed my pin nailer. It's already dry. How dry it is here in Las Vegas. Look at that. Now I'm putting a bunch of nails in the bottom to keep the stupid birds out of this thing. I'm just kidding. I love birds, especially chickens. And then to top it off, pun intended, I glued and nailed the roof on. I just realized I cut the roof too short. You see that little gap in there? I didn't notice it till I got low enough to see it. I'm just going to tell the birds those are eaves. They're for ventilation. They don't know any better. What are they going to do? Call OSHA? I'm using this Olympic Elite Stain Sealant. Typically you would use this stuff to stain and seal your deck. So I'm thinking this would be perfect for an outdoor project like this. My favorite part about it is you didn't have to wipe it back off. You just brush it on and you leave it alone. I believe woodworkers are the future. Buy them tools and let them build their stuff. Well, bam! What do you guys think? A lot of the ones I saw online, they had a support brace that went across the front like this and it tied it all together. You screwed it into each arm and the center. But I felt like it was a little bit too much. I liked it better without it. What do you guys think? I don't think it really needs it. I think this holds up the plants just right. But if you're going to put something heavier, you might need to put a brace across the middle. So here's one website, and they're selling them for $153. This Amish website is selling them for $211 a piece. Wait a minute, how are Amish people making websites if they don't have electricity? For $211, I'm going to grow my beard out and sell these out of the back of a wagon.